Okay, being an older Tamiya kit, the M48 was set up initially to have the little motor and movable tracks and so on and so forth. So one of the first things I had to do was fill in all the gaps for holes. There was also a bit of a seam line that ran across the back. You can probably still see it on the round parts. I'm hoping those will be covered by the tracks, otherwise I'll have to sand them down as well. Another thing that has come to my attention actually is the gap between the parts. They're not, well, obviously it's an older kit, so and it was built to be, I guess, played with. So the parts have gaps. Primarily you're looking at the shock absorbers there. You could glue them to one side or the other and it would leave a gap, and I'm not big on leaving gaps. So what I did, I don't know if you can see them real well, I drilled out the brackets and the shock absorber head and inserted a little pin of fresh sprue to make a bolt, and then with the Ming bolt and nut detail set, I added, well, the tops and bottoms to the bolts to fill in the gap and make it look a little better, a little more realistic. Also around the front, I hope you can see it in the light, there is the toe pindles on the front had gaps around them. So again, I used some fresh sprue, fresh styrene, and made weld beads to cover the gaps there. And that's where it stands at the moment. Okay, update time. The top half of the hull is mostly done. I've added all the PE set, or PE parts that I plan on doing from this point forward, or this point back. It's the Edward kit, and very nice stuff. I like their stuff. Now, as for the kit itself, again, it's Tamiya, and there were some gaps, and I don't like gaps, so I filled them. The holes, obviously, for the plastic in parts were a lot larger than the PE, so they required that I use some stock sprue, or stock fresh styrene, and I filled in half the holes with it to fill it in, which had the added benefit of giving me a stable gluing surface for the super glue that holds the supports in place. The handles are two-piece, very nice. The other big spot that required filling were the air intakes for the engine. These are the air cleaners, and when you put them in place, there were gaps. You can see where the white is. It's just, again, fresh styrene, but in this case it was tubing. And things like that are just kind of annoying to me. I know the kit is old, and if they made a new one, I'm sure that would be covered, but just for my own sanity, I fixed it myself. My next area to be working on will be the front here. I won't be using the PE headlights assembly brush guards because I've been building it in accordance with some of the photographs I found, and the photographs all show the big round brush guards, So though they will be utilized instead of the neat little semi-rectangular looking ones that the PE kit provides. That's it for the moment. Alrighty, kind of done with the construction phase for the most part. I still have like the machine gun 50 cal to put together, but that's gonna be a little bit of a project unto itself. All the PE that I wanted to use is in place. The white styrene replaces parts that needed to be replaced, basically, from the fillers around the air intake. I remanded the covers over the front periscopes once they were installed. PE. Let's see what else. I noticed on a photograph of someone else building a model, they had little pieces of white plastic there, and I couldn't figure out why at first they would do something like that until I put it together and realized that the bottom half of the hinge, or that you had the outer part of the hinge that you installed, but the part that attached to the doors themselves was missing, and that's what they were doing. And it's like, oh, okay, so I put the hinges in place. Let's see what else. I think that's about it on that. It's all attached and put together. The commander's cupola is complete. I left it. I glued it shut because there's really nothing to look at, and I wasn't overly impressed with the figure that came with it, so no sense in having that there. I do have a Verlinden figure I'll be putting in. Very little PE on that. There's like 5 pieces, I think. The main gun is finished. I had left it off so I could paint, behind it and on the turret. It's taped off because I put the glass in. I got some reference photos, and the paint call says just to paint the whole inside silver, but it's actually black with a mirrored finish on the back. So I managed to attach some silver mylar in the back, and it gives a kind of a decent reflection. If when it's all said and done, if I'm looking at it, I don't particularly like it, I'll go ahead and make a canvas cover for it and just hide it. But at the moment, I'm thinking I'll probably leave it open. You can see all the wheels have been sanded and get ready for primer. It's all ready basically for primer. That'll be my next step. The turret is complete. Obviously commander's cupola will go in there. The PE parts are put in place. The extra fuel cans are on. I don't think I did anything on here. The spare tire mount, I drilled out all the little holes in the spare road wheel, and I added a set of nut and bolt heads on both sides to indicate that it's bolted to the bracket like it would. Well, it would be, obviously, not just glued in place. And that's about it now. It will get once I'm done here, it will get a coat of primer, and then start to set, and then paint it. That'll be the next video. Alright, thanks for watching. The cover, or the white stuff you see there, is a scratch-built dust cover to fill in the gaps on the side that should have been there, well, would have been there on at least some of the real tanks. The front cover of the mantlet is designed by the kit to look like it's got the canvas cover on it, but obviously it was originally meant to be a little motorized toy, so they didn't really have anything to put in between them. So I scratch built my own. Another one in the box, or another one done, I should say, out of the box. Well, no, not out of the box. There are some non-standard elements attached to this. This is the M48A3 Patton tank by Tamiya in 1/35 scale with the Edward PE photo etch set and one additional PE set, which was the barbed wire. I'll show you that in the back. There are some resin parts on there that I don't know what they're from. They're they were for an M60, mainly the cots and the stowage and stuff like that, which was kind of universal. And the little guy at the front is a Verlinden figure, really nicely done. I'm so sorry they went out of business. The kit is called Letter Home, or Dear John, actually, called Dear John. And it comes with a helmet, an M16, and an ammo can for him to sit on, but I decided I want him as a tanker, so I left off all those parts, and instead of a Dear John letter, I found a photograph of a woman from Woodstock and brought it down to about an 8x10 for him and put it in his hand, and so he's looking at his girlfriend's picture as opposed to a Dear John letter. The kit was built mostly out of the box, other than the PE stuff. The only real scratch building I did was I made the rest of the dust cover around the main gun. It's just toilet paper soaked in a mixture of standard school glue and water, and then shaped accordingly. That unfortunately has the effect of fixing the gun in that position, so not that it gets moved anyway. The barbed wire at the back, I found a photograph and mimicked that because I thought that was cool. I'd never seen it before. And again, it's the Edward PE barbed wire kit. But and of course the antenna is simply a piece of fresh styrene rod in scale. Overall, it was a fun kit. Shout out to Tamiya, because for some reason I either lost the decals for it or they weren't in the box. They just went someplace. They're like that missing sock in your wash machine or dryer. So there was a pause in the build as I contacted them and asked if they could replace the decals for me, because I know I could have bought aftermarket, but the kit came with markings for the 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment, and although I was not in Vietnam, I was stationed with the 11th Cavalry Regiment in Germany for 3 years, and so I have an attachment to the unit. So I really wanted the 11th ACR markings on it, and none of the aftermarket kits had the 11th ACR basically. So shout out and props to Tamiya and their service department, as the gentleman I contacted was super polite, super professional, and got them out to me as quickly as he could due to all the current restrictions and situation. And that's about it. I hope you enjoyed it. I liked it. I'd recommend it to anybody who wants to build a Patton tank. And thanks for watching.